Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. When a man is denied the right to live the life he believes in, he has no choice but to become an outlaw. It is in your hands, to make a better world for all who live in it. A winner is a dreamer who never gives up. Overcoming poverty is not a task of charity, it is an act of justice. What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. Lead from the back, and let others believe they are in front. As I have said, the first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you have not changed yourself. Great peacemakers are all people of integrity, of honesty, but humility. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. A leader is like a shepherd. He stays behind the flock, letting the most nimble go out ahead, whereupon the others follow, not realizing that all along they are being directed from behind. Sometimes, it falls upon a generation to be great. You can be that great generation. Let your greatness blossom. Real leaders must be ready to sacrifice all for the freedom of their people. A good head and good heart are always a formidable combination. But when you add to that a literate tongue or pen, then you have something very special. The power of education extends beyond the development of skills we need for economic success. It can contribute to nation building and reconciliation. If there is one appeal I could make, it is that young people must take it upon themselves to ensure that they receive the highest education possible so that they can represent us well in future as future leaders. No country can really develop unless its citizens are educated. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. Money won't create success, the freedom to make it will. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. A good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. The path of those who preach love, and not hatred, is not easy. They often have to wear a crown of thorns. I am not a saint, unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying. Appearances matter, and remember to smile. Nothing is black or white. Quitting is leading to. I am fundamentally an optimist. Whether that comes from nature or nurture, I cannot say. Part of being optimistic is keeping one's head pointed toward the sun, one's feet moving forward. There were many dark moments when my faith in humanity was sorely tested, but I would not and could not give myself up to despair. That way lays defeat and death. Without language, one cannot talk to people and understand them, one cannot share their hopes and aspirations, grasp their history, appreciate their poetry, or savor their songs. It is said that no one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jails. A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones. A critical, independent and investigative press is the lifeblood of any democracy. The press must be free from state interference. It must have the economic strength to stand up to the blandishments of government officials. It must have sufficient independence from vested interests to be bold and inquiring without fear or favor. It must enjoy the protection of the Constitution, so that it can protect our rights as citizens. There is a universal respect and even admiration for those who are humble and simple by nature, and who have absolute confidence in all human beings irrespective of their social status. It is not our diversity which divides us, it is not our ethnicity, or religion or culture that divides us. Since we have achieved our freedom, there can only be one division amongst us, between those who cherish democracy and those who do not. One of the most difficult things is not to change society, but to change yourself. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Difficulties break some men but make others. No axe is sharp enough to cut the soul of a sinner who keeps on trying, one armed with the hope that he will rise even in the end. To be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. Part of being optimistic is keeping one's head pointed toward the sun, one's feet moving forward. There were many dark moments when my faith in humanity was sorely tested, but I would not and could not give myself up to despair. That way lays defeat and death. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. Then he becomes your partner. I have never cared very much for personal prizes. A person does not become a freedom fighter in the hope of winning awards. There is no easy walk to freedom anywhere, and many of us will have to pass through the valley of the shadow of death again and again before we reach the mountaintop of our desires. No single person can liberate a country. You can only liberate a country if you act as a collective. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. You will achieve more in this world through acts of mercy than you will through acts of retribution. If you can find it in yourself to forgive, then you are no longer chained to the perpetrator. You can move on, and you can even help the perpetrator to become a better person too. There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. I like friends who have independent minds because they tend to make you see problems from all angles. It is in the character of growth that we should learn from both pleasant and unpleasant experiences. What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead. Live life as though nobody is watching, and express yourself as though everyone is listening. One cannot be prepared for something while secretly believing it will not happen. It is what we make out of what we have, not what we are given, that separates one person from another. I never lose. I either win or learn. Do not judge me by my successes, judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. It is not where you start but how high you aim that matters for success. There is nothing like returning to a place that remains unchanged to find the ways in which you yourself have altered. One of the things I learned when I was negotiating was that until I changed myself, I could not change others. Everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do. It always seems impossible until it's done. We must use time wisely and forever realize that the time is always ripe to do right. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. When people are determined they can overcome anything. I never lose. I either win or learn. Your playing small does not serve the world. Who are you not to be great? Forgiveness liberates the soul. It removes fear. That is why it is such a powerful weapon. There can be no greater gift than that of giving one's time and energy to help others without expecting anything in return. Fools multiply when wise men are silent. You can start changing our world for the better daily, no matter how small the action. The greatest glory in living is not in falling, but in rising every time we fall. While poverty persists, there is no true freedom. After climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Real leaders must be ready to sacrifice all for the freedom of their people. Action without vision is only passing time. Vision without action is merely daydreaming, but vision with action can change the world. Poverty is not an accident. Like slavery and apartheid, it is man-made and can be removed by the actions of human beings. If you want the cooperation of humans around you, you must make them feel they are important, and you do that by being genuine and humble. Courageous people do not fear forgiving, for the sake of peace. People respond in accordance to how you treat them.